From Nepal now back to South Africa. One person was confirmed dead and 90 people injured after this morning's derailment at the Denver station in southeastern Johannesburg. PRASA CEO Lucky Montana brings answers to the table. Lucky, thank you so much for making the time to join us.
Thank you very much.
You must have had a heavy day today.
Yeah, it was a long day. I think that if you have an accident like that one, of course, you know, if you look at the national mood with what we had over the past few weeks, with the attacks on foreigners, we've had metro buses involved in accidents. Surely, I think the mood is not right. You don't want an accident in that kind of an environment. Yes, it's been a long day because we had to support the family. We went with the Minister of Transport to visit some of the injured passengers in the 3 different hospitals that are there. So yes, I think, I just left the Mill Park Hospital. We're there with the family of our driver, and you can just imagine the pain that they're going through. Here's a mother, a sister, an aunt who left home in the morning.
And is not returning.
Is not returning.
I want to come back to this point about the national mood, because I think that's important. But before we do that, I understand that by now you would have deployed investigators onto the ground, your own field officers. What are they telling you about the cause of the accident and why we've seen this catastrophe in Johannesburg? Well,
let me start on a more positive note. I think that if you look at the state of railway safety in the country, particularly in respect of passenger railways, I think that has been very positive. I think it's been a downward trend. If you look in 2013, 2014, we never had even a single collision. There's never been any fatality in there. And these are contained in independent reports of the rail safety regulator, which are tabled in Parliament.
So the record is good?
The record is good. I think that that is one of the things that we must assure South Africans, that Metro Rail runs over 2,200 trains every day, and each of those trains, they do on average about 8 train trips. And you can just imagine that we run hundreds or thousands of train trips a day.
So the cause of this one?
Well, this one, I think that was different. We still have to find the root causes, of course. The rail safety regulator will establish what we call a board of inquiry, bring in experts to look both at the human side of things, human factor, as well as the technical side to see.
So at this stage, you can't say if it's a human error or a technical error?
No, we can't say that. I know that the CEO of the rail safety regulator said definitely it should be a driver fault, but I still believe that with a more detailed analysis of the data, of the information that is coming through, we should be able to say.
What's your turnaround time? When would you expect to have the answers?
Well, I think that they will have a preliminary findings by the end of this week, of course. But I think the more detailed report, which is aimed at identifying the underlying causes, because those impact on a number of things, including your controls, including the need to review your safety procedures and all of those things, will come at a later stage. But look, I think that generally the rail safety regulator will make an initial assessment, give us a report, and of course we'll act on the basis.
Let's talk accountability for a moment. Now that you've deployed the investigation, this is underway, who do you account to? Do you have to now report back to the Minister of Transport, or where do we go from here in terms of making sure that those that are accountable are held accountable?
Well, look, I report to a board of PRASA, and that board, of course, reports to the Minister of Transport. She was there with us on the accident scene. She asked some very difficult questions. She wanted answers. She asked both myself and the CEO of the rail safety regulator to say, tell us, why was this train stationary? What was the communication with the other drivers? So she raised quite a number of important issues, and I think that in the next few days and weeks we'll be able to answer those. So ultimately we are accountable. The rail safety regulator, which also in its own right reports to the Minister of Transport and as well as Parliament, is able, in an event where, for example, PRASA management didn't put the proper systems in place, they're able to put in what are clear directives. They even have the right to, or the authority rather, to withdraw a license to operate either the whole system on that particular line. So they do constant assessment of what we do. So, so as CEO, as Group CEO of PRASA, I'm ultimately accountable on the safety performance of the business, and therefore, if the rail safety regulator finds that I didn't do my job, they'll be able to say, Lucky Montana, CEO of PRASA, has failed to do his job and must be held accountable for that.
So if you are the man with whom the buck stops, can I ask you to make a commitment when that report is made available to come and share it with us?
Well, the report will be a public report. I think that we are more than willing to come here and discuss the issues. But I'll tell you that I'm quite satisfied with the work that we've done. I think, of course, the difference between a railway, a train, and a taxi is that the taxi, you're having 16 people in a taxi. But one train, of course, you've got so many lives that are involved. And so that is why it became a big issue. But look, we've had only one accident this year. We've had only 2 in the previous financial year, and there was none. So it's not like we're having this future crisis. It's not like there's a precedent. No, not at all.
Let me go back to just the issue you raised about the national mood, and also to, as a wrap up, as my final question. Let's talk about the brand rebuilding exercise that you're going to have to do on the back of this. Have you had an opportunity to discuss this with your team? How are you going to make sure that the idea that railways in South Africa are safe is still top of mind?
Well, look, I think we've got a powerful brand. I mean, let me say that PRASA is 5 years old, and let me tell you that 5 years since our establishment, we are not associated with accidents and everything. Yes, there are a lot of challenges, but people will associate PRASA with new trains, new stations, a great work we've done in 2010. And our brand is growing all the time. We have so many people, young people, who want to work for our business as an example, because they think that it's a way of making a difference in the travel experience of South Africans, which I think is quite great. We've got many young women, whether chartered accountants or engineers, who say we want to make it with PRASA. And if you look internationally, I mean, for an organization that is 5 years old, you know, we are associated with with our new rolling stock program, some of the innovations that we've brought. So I think the PRASA brand, notwithstanding what we've experienced today, it's bound to grow leaps in leaps and bounds. I don't experience any problem at all. It will be a powerful brand of the future.
We appreciate the time that you've taken to come and speak to us, particularly on a heavy day that you've had, such as today. That's a very big thank you to PRASA CEO Lucky Montana, putting himself in the hot seat and saying, I am accountable and I am here to give you an update.